Hi, this is Glenn here, and what a great website you have, the St John's Youth website. And let me just say, well done to Dominic, who's put it together. The bad news, however, is that you have to listen to me again. And if you thought you were going to be able to escape my sermons, then I'm afraid to have to tell you that that's not the case. The good news, however, is though, if you don't want to listen to me, then just press that off button. I hope you've all had a good summer holiday. Some of you have been on holiday with your parents, family. Others have been to SU camp. Some of you are just coming back from Soul Survivor. And others are soon to go to Kigali in Rwanda to visit Louis and Winnie. Throughout that time, perhaps you've been learning to grow in your faith. For some of you, you'll have come to faith for the first time. And I just want to say that that's wonderful news. Well done, and may the Lord bless you as you continue to follow Him with your life. For others, you've been finding faith for yourself, your own faith, and starting to grow in that and find your own way, and the Lord's starting to stretch you as well. And perhaps at Soul Survivor or SU camp, you've been finding new ways to worship. Ways that your generation are comfortable with worshiping. And I just want to encourage you that as you come back to St John's and St Michael's as well, that you're not afraid to continue to worship like that. Be leaders in your generation and also lead us, the older generations, because we need inspired by you. And I just want to encourage you to do that. The writer John Ortberg has a book called If You Want to Walk on Water, You Have to Get Out of the Boat. And that book title is referring to the story where Peter and the disciples are in the midst of a storm on the Sea of Galilee, and they see Jesus walking towards them in the middle of the night, and they think he's a ghost. And to encourage and reassure them, Jesus just calls out to them and says these very simple words, but very powerful words. He says to them, "Take courage, it is I. Don't be afraid." And I'd just like to take those words of Jesus and pass them on to you as you come back from your summer holidays and get ready to go back to school. For some of you, that'll mean sharing your faith perhaps, or telling people that you're a Christian for the first time. I would just like to encourage you to remember the words of Jesus, who says to you, "Take courage, I'm with you in this, and I'll help you. Don't be afraid." For others, you're heading off to university, and you'll find yourself in situations where your faith is put under pressure. There's strong pressures on you to perhaps compromise your faith. And again, I'd just like you in those situations to remember Jesus' words. He says to you, "Take courage, I'm with you in this, don't be afraid." Perhaps you find it difficult to pick up the phone and make contact with the Christian Union, for example, and you're finding that a bit of a barrier, then Jesus says to you, "Take courage, I'm with you in this, take that step of faith, and I'll be with you." Or perhaps you're heading off to work for the first time, and you'll find yourself in a different environment where your faith is not the norm, and you might be put under pressure to compromise your faith again by perhaps being dishonest. And again, just in those situations, I want to encourage you to have the courage of Jesus, because he's with you in it. And he says to you, "Don't be afraid. And if you stand up for me, I'll be right there beside you." Some of you are coming back from camp and Soul Survivor, ready to be baptized and walk into that baptized life. And again, that's wonderful news, and I just want to encourage you as you take that step of faith in Jesus, that Jesus is right there with you and is going to lead you into a life of discipleship to him, a life where you follow him closely. And I just want to encourage you as perhaps you maybe spread your wings and leave Linlithgow and go off to Glasgow, Edinburgh, Aberdeen, or wherever, that you look back on that moment when you trusted your life to Jesus and baptism, and use it as something that that strengthens your faith, a milestone that you can look back on and say, I'm for Jesus. I took my stand for Jesus on that day, and I'm going to follow him closely, no matter how hard it is. It's great to see you all back, and just as your pastor, I'd like to encourage you to keep on following him closely and keep on just inspiring our church to follow Jesus together. Thanks.